All right, here we go. I dig this dude. His name's Avenger 1. In my mind, he reminds me of like Commander Stove, if you guys are familiar with like people who are very good at PvP and teach PvP. And this gentleman here does an excellent job of it. So let's watch here. He's in a gladiator right now, but he's going to start talking a little bit about tactics. It's called Understanding Fighting in the Bubble. And I believe what he's talking about is distancing. You're distancing to your target and your speed as well, and how it's important to stay inside this bubble regardless of the ship. But let's watch.
Pay attention extremely closely today, guys.
He's a little bit of a jokester too. I like that.
So today we're talking about what's called fighting inside the bubble. Now you're probably asking, what is the bubble? Quite put simply here, you're going to see a fight after we get through these graphics. And I'm going to kind of walk through how typically somebody gets into the bubble and why you want to be there. So here we see a classic situation where we have a buccaneer.
I love this. How he breaks it down.
Speeds. And we have a gladiator pilot deciding to pre-nose ahead, predicting motion so that he can gain the slot or gain the distance he needs to apply damage.
Yeah, you can tell.
At the high speeds that he's looking for. So once we
and he does this all the time when you watch his PvP. People overshoot him all the time.
Our prediction, we orientate our wings so that we're pulling up onto our target, and we're continuing to push towards the target, and we're trying to stay within that 800-meter zone. Eventually, what will end up happening is as the enemy fighter noses on towards you and gets lock on you at the high speeds, what ends up happening is you're going to start to slow down. If you have a lower turn rate, you're going to start to slow down your ship as the nose gets on. So once the enemy has his nose on you, you begin to slow down. You can do this with throttle control, or you can do this with the speed limiter, right? What you want to do is your distance that you start to play in starts to get smaller and smaller until you're within your SCM speeds. And
I'm actually thinking about getting pedals.
S-turns, J-hooks, and fighting for position. But when it comes to high speeds, once you get those nose on, you're going to start slowing down gradually until you can start getting to within what you want. And what we're looking at is you look at the size or the zone that I have to play with. My bubble, my zone of control, is much smaller than the enemy who is at a higher energy state. So he needs to expend more energy, use more boost, and still keep fighting to get his nose on target without having to get slower. So the larger ship with the less turn rate wants to slow the fight down so he can get within a smaller bubble, whereas the faster, more nimble ships are more comfortable at higher speeds being able to still maintain nose control on them. So fighting inside the bubble is good for ships like the Gladiator, and this is just a basic combat maneuver that everyone needs to understand. Is once you nose off against your enemy, you start dropping your speed so that you have more zone, you have more response time, you have quicker thruster placements or quicker thruster movements so that you can avoid fire, create faster deflections, start corkscrewing, that kind of thing. And these techniques help you really understand. So when we watch this fight, I want you to envision this in your head, that once we do the pre-nose, you'll see my speed start to slow down so that I maintain target, so that I maintain nose control on the enemy. And we've
seen this. We've watched a few of his videos. We've seen him do this.
Gladiator, it's a very, very tough ship, so we don't need to worry too much about evasiveness because the Gladiator is a big fucking tank. It just wants to soak damage, and boy, can she dish it out, right? So let's take a look. Just came in right after. Buccaneer. Recharging my guns. 1 sec. Get us in position.
Damn.
Target destroyed.
Splash 2.
Boom.
So watching this fight again in about half speed, we can tell right here on the advanced nose, as we coming into our target here, right? And this is the most dangerous part of the fight. This is where you're going to take hits if you don't get your advanced nose to be perfectly aligned, right?
Right.
So it did take a few
you
hits
got to
here,
get,
but
especially in
considering the
slower
Gladiator's overall
ships.
strength, it was worth taking the trade. He did get our shields down, but now we've got the
turning,
dominant
slower
position.
turning ships. Right. Now you
And
got
I'm
them.
slowing my ship down as I continue like strafing and pitching up to cancel his momentum, right? Like in a previous video, we were talking about canceling momentum, right? So I'm strafing up with him, so my turn rate has it becomes less of a problem for me to maintain
Right, less of an
time.
angle.
But I'm also like lowering my overall speed, so my circle is tighter,
Right.
so that I can maintain
So more shots are hitting.
target acquisition on him.
Yep.
Let's take another example and
That's
another
pro
look
tips
at
right
another
there.
fight where we do the exact same thing. Pay very close attention during this fight as to what's going on with the throttle and what the position against my enemy is.
Really,
Notice how my
Guibu?
speed is dropping as my circle is getting smaller until it gets to a critical point where my circle can't get any smaller and we force a joust. Unfortunately, in this case, because I have a good turret gunner, he didn't even make it through the second turn. But the fundamentals
Damn,
here
that
are
turret
what's
gunner was
important.
spot on.
So we're gonna look at one
I'm
more
sorry,
example
Guibu.
where
I'm sorry to
fighting
hear
inside
that.
the bubble
Keep saving,
is
bro.
still effective
Keep
at
saving.
even really high speeds as long as you can again maintain the distance.
I've been there,
So
Guibu.
proper throttle control in these situations is really what's going to get you on top. So here we go with the nose over, watching, looking at our target, predicting the motion
The turret
direction that
gunner
they're
was
going to go.
on point, man.
And you can see he's looking at what my nose is doing and he's thinking, maybe I should kind of back off. And as we start to see him dive towards us, he just crossed 2 kilometers instantly, so we know he's coming towards us. We advance nose over, predict the direction path he's going to go.
So
Keep our
he's
turret
literally
in line,
turning.
and here we go.
You see that?
Now look,
You see what he did? He let the other dudes, he let the target's momentum reach out ahead of him, literally landing him right in the zone of fire right there. I mean, like, he literally turns and he flanks as the guy passes him. Like, that is so professional, man. Like, he understands the dude's speed. He's coming in fast. He knows what he's flying. He knows it's slower, and he literally slowed it down. Where the instinct of a lot of newer players, the instinct of a lot of new PvPers, in fact, is to speed up. And you have to actually, like, combat that feeling. It's like that fight or flight response that we have, you know, in situations like this. Yes, even in gaming, it happens. That's psychology. And a lot of times what people will do is they'll speed up because they think that is what they have to do. That is what they're feeling emotionally. And you have to fight that with logic. And you have to literally go against that impulse. You have to slow it down. And that's exactly what he does. And the dude gets right in the zone, right in that zone. It's
look
a
at my
beautiful,
speed. My speed
beautiful.
is dropping
Yeah.
dramatically and staying low. And then as soon as I crest the bottom of that turn, I need to make sure I stay distance. So I jack my throttle up and I continue on.
Back
Like,
up.
It's
right. And then jacks the throttle back up. Right. And it's that distance. It's that perfect distance, and speed plays a lot. Speed and momentum play a lot in PvP confrontations, in most space sims, but especially so in Star Citizen. And that is one of the reasons I really love Star Citizen, is that the PvP is getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
It's very important that I slowed down and I fought inside that bubble as long as I could. And as soon as I was...
What is this dude firing off an EMP? What is he fighting? I can't see what he's fighting. The guy is firing off the EMP, and he's not even he's not even at the right distance for it to take any effect, I think. Yeah, it's a little too far away for the EMP to have any effect. You gotta get real tight up.
Made the kill.
And he fires it off too late as well. He fired off those EMP charges, take a while, and if you're going to do a maneuver like that, you want to start it up as you're advancing, way before that guy did. So that's another tip from me as a PvPer.
Train your fundamentals. Fighting inside the bubble and understanding turn rates and how they relate to each other.
Very well done video.
It's
very
all relative in the sense
very,
that if
very
you're
good
fighting
instructional
someone
video.
who's orbiting you, and you are slowing your speed down so that you can create more deflections quicker, fight inside the bubble, and still be within range.
Last I had heard, Starlet, they were saying something about nerfing of the EMP, but I think it's back on the table now.
In the toolbox.
You know, because I heard a lot from Mongrels that that's the way it is, but I don't think that's the way it is anymore, Starlet.
On the horizon. So whether you're a pirate,
I'm not
or
quite
you're a
sure about
security
that.
personnel, I honestly believe that everybody.
But somebody
in
over
Star
at Mongrels
Citizen
told me
deserves
that
a chance
it
to understand how to play
that
the game to the
it's
highest
not
level
that
they
way
can,
anymore.
so they can either protect themselves or open up new gameplay avenues that perhaps they weren't thinking about.
Very, very well done.
All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video.
Very, very well done. And pardon me, because I have not been in a PvP confrontation in a few months. So pardon me for that if that information is incorrect on that. And that is just due to my limited time as a father. But I can't wait to jump back in, as Trip Out was very nice at Predator Mounts and shot me over a stick, and I'm thinking about investing in dual sticks with some pedals. So I might have some of that content on the channel coming up and just jump back into it, because this is the type of content I love to create as well. And I miss doing this. I really do. And it's great to see Avenger 1 doing it so good. I mean, Avenger 1 is really professional. Dude, I don't even think I need to. That's how good his content is. Like, I feel like I would be doing a people a disservice, because his tips and the way he instructs people on his channel with his content is so fucking goddamn good that I'm like, hey, he's got the space covered. Like, I literally think that's how good Avenger 1's tips are, and you should go over and you guys should subscribe. I will like that. Avenger 1, keep it up, bro. You are teaching people how to PvP, and I admire that immensely. I think you're doing a great service, and I really enjoy it, because I want to see more people out there PvPing, and I really want to see people like taking the risk and getting in that danger and learning and seeing that there is a lot of fun in PvP. You know, a lot of people shy away from PvP, and I'll tell you what, you're going to die. Get over it. Like, you know, get over that kind of like, when you get involved in it and you start to learn at it, it becomes very addictive, and it's a very great feeling to go against another player and beat them. You know, I advise that everybody take some time out to do this in Star Citizen. Even if you're grinding PvE and this isn't for you, try it out for a little bit. Just try it out for a little bit, and you're going to fail 1,000 times. But that one time that you really score big, the one time you take somebody down, you're going to get this rush, and you're going to be like, holy shit. And that will grab you. And that is really what I'm looking forward to in Star Citizen, is this element of danger and PvP that is missing in so many games. Elite Dangerous PvP got busted when Engineers came out, and I was so very disappointed at the state of the game and how PvP literally just nosedived off of a cliff. And they tried to bring out CQC to bring back some of the PvP community, and they just did a really shit job, because David Braben and Frontier are so focused on exploration, and that's great and all, but not my type of game style. I definitely want some danger. There does need to be a balance. There needs to be a mix of the two, but I want to be flying out in space knowing that some people know how to fucking fly, and know that some people are going to blow me up, and I love that danger. I'm not talking about exploits, and this phase we're in, where we're testing, is to get rid of the exploits. And you're always going to have exploits, and you're always going to deal with like some forms of griefing, and that's just part of the experience. But I'm just talking about like true mano a mano, like PvP, getting your PvP on and really going up against somebody. It's skill versus skill. And what we're learning from Avenger is, we've seen so many videos from Avenger where he's flying ships that really lack the ability to, in any normal circumstance with the average Star Citizen, is that these ships should not be able to beat other ships. We saw a Dragonfly take out a Buccaneer here on the channel last week. He literally flew a Dragonfly and took a buck out, which was just like my mind was completely blown because of his tactics. That's how we saw him fly a Terrapin. We saw him fly a Terrapin and take out 3 ships. It was insane. And this man knows the technicals, and if you go to this channel, this is what you're going to learn on Avenger 1's channel. So I cannot recommend his channel enough. It looks like we're helping him out, getting over 3,000. Last we looked, he was at 2,000. It's nice to see that our community is going over there and subscribing. Highly recommend this guy's channel. If you really aren't even invested into PvP, maybe you want to try it out a little bit, take my advice, go to this dude's channel, and you can learn a lot.